Mr. Cui Zi, and I would like to introduce our panel this evening entitled Queer Asian Imagination. The moderator for the panel is Mikhail Bass
from the International Institute for Asian Studies.
And we have Ms. Yang Yang, who was in the film. You may recognize her from the film. Of the Beijing Queer Film Festival, as you saw in the film. And then we have Mr. Jeroen de Kloet. He is the head of the Cinemasia board, and he's also...
I work for the University of Amsterdam, and I've been doing research on gay issues related to China.
And we have Mr. Kit Hung from Hong Kong and Switzerland. and Mr. Hung is the director of the film Soundless Windchime, which played in the Rosa Film Dagen this year, which you may have seen.
May I compliment you first on an excellent job, beautiful documentary, which really an eye-opener. It digs into lots of different topics. I've not seen much work done on gay, queer China that way, so it's really pioneering work. If you imagine an 18, 19-year-old boy in modern China today, China now, for instance in Beijing or Shanghai or some other city, what would such a person want out of life as a gay person?
For people who were born in after in the 80s and 90s, they were actually in the audience of this film, and they didn't participate in the process. But the sequence of this film, they will be the main cast.
Are young Chinese gay, queer, I'm not sure if I should mention all these different labels any time. I don't mean to exclude any particular form while I'm mentioning them, but do you think, are you of the opinion that they look for a similar kind of lifestyle than they could have in the West, or do they perhaps have something else in mind, which is very well possible, because a number of times a particular word, Chinese word, which I'll probably butcher in the pronunciation, tongzi, was mentioned, which seemed to me was perhaps constructed on different ideas.
I think many young Chinese gay and lesbians, they also go to gay bar. But one difference is in China, they also aspire to get married with a heterosexual. I think that's one of the biggest difference.
Well, I'm from Hong Kong, so I'm rather talk on behalf of Hong Kong. But what my experience, like the Hong Kong gay culture and the Beijing gay culture, is, as what Cui Zi also said, is there is a lot. Like, it's not only young people going to the gay bar, there's also old people going to the gay bar as well. And then there is quite a strong phenomenon that people in China, that they are ultimately aiming for getting married with opposite sex people. This is what is very different from the Western world, or also in Hong Kong as well. Hong Kong is rather very well I mean, like, because of the colonial history of Hong Kong have been excluded from the cultural development from China. So Hong Kong have its own culture, very different from China. And then we know the term homosexuality in the very beginning. We have our own running gay and lesbian film festival for a very long years already. The problems in Hong Kong right now is the culture is getting a lot more monoculture. It's like it is going more for like the cover boy kind of style, and then it's going for more commercial or for the merchandise, instead of really, like, we never have a gay literature. Like, there is no Hong Kong gay writer. Maybe just one recent year they released one book, but then for the whole development of Hong Kong gay culture, there's not a lot of like written things or literal things that is recorded on text.
You mentioned that young Chinese guys still, or girls probably in the same situation, might still desire to get married. Where does that leave their other desires once they are married? Do their gay lives then stop? Do they think, well, this is where this gay life of mine ends, or does it still continue while being married?
That would definitely be the question.
Because many of the majority of Chinese homosexuals, they didn't come out at the beginning to start with. So even after they get married, it's just a matter of they playing an extra role in their life. The only change is they have a wife and they have children, but the situation would be the same as before their marriage.
There are now websites where gay men can meet lesbian women in order to get married. So he married with a lesbian woman, actually. Keeping up appearances in front of your parents, while at the same time having your own life. And I actually think this possibility of combining certain social roles with certain sexual roles, and that in the West, wherever that may be, often are considered to be opposing each other, can also be liberating.
What was it for you to be part of this movie? And second, having listened to the answers you've just heard, is there a different perspective from the lesbian side on this?
Twitter made this movie. He's trying to rewrite the history of homosexual or queer movement history. So the Beijing, now it's called Beijing Queer Film Festival, and in 2001 it's called China Homosexual Film Festival. Is one of the most important part of this history. He thinks it's very important to talk about this in this film. So I agree. So I talk about it in this film. And for my own personal experience, I have a lot of gay friends. They are more they don't want to get married. They want to keep their personal life. They want to live the style they want. So there's other choice, I think, in China.
Thank you all. Let's move on to the audience.
Very curious, the topic of children came up, and given the Chinese policy of children and population policies, I was wondering is this a topic at all in the gay rights movement or among the gay community, or is it maybe a bridge too far still? Or?
But the one thing that was sure from the government is they try to distinguish the discussion between having less population, less reproduction, and making same-sex relationship legitimate. So they try to distinguish that. It doesn't mean that the same-sex couple couldn't produce children. That means the government will support them. That doesn't mean that. And then the second thing that he observes is the masculinization of the Chinese men. And also there's statistics saying, predict that 30% of Chinese men will not find a female spouse if they really want to get married.
The life on this moment now, for example, for the younger people, are there now also organizations to help them to coming out, or is it still, actually the secret life? My husband is from Shanghai also, and in that period was also a little bit secret. But I still not can have an idea how the life is nowadays. Is it more open for the younger people, or is it still forbidden?
So far, there hasn't been any organization to help young gay and lesbian to come out to the society. But there have been the discussion on the internet, on some online programs that encourage the establishment of such organization to help young people to come out and to face their own identity. But because of the host of those programs, those online TV programs, they didn't come out, and also the many organized like the people working in those organizations, they refuse to come out, or they haven't come out so far. So not many people are aspired to come out as well.